例えば、苦手な食べ物はありますか？
ないです。
We opened this week with Kokoro spotting a few of their fans and taking pleasure in the fact that their cheap product placements were stimulating their country's struggling economy. Though I will say, it is kind of genius that they made it so that each light could only shine one color, which might force multiple purchases. That said, Zukyun probably has the lamest light. Hey, check this out, I can make my own Zukyun light. Ooh, isn't it amazing? Meanwhile, Precure revealed that they had managed to fill up another page of their little ribbon book, which I'm guessing is meant to show that they'll be able to again refill the big ribbon in Kyakkya Land, and who knows, maybe they'll even get a new upgrade for their troubles. Also, yeah, I forgot this is a thing with this fairy, probably because I was trying to repress the twerking. Anyway, Kokoro later came in to propose that they form an official fan club. Yeah, while there were plenty of unofficial clubs that were technically making bootleg goods, which ironically enough she was the head of one, she wanted to do something properly with their IP.
私たちの情報がいっぱい載ってる解放やオリジナルグッズが届いたり。
And then those fans probably won't even open up and just sell it on Macari. But yeah, it was a nice idea that you'd think they would have done sooner, though as we'll see by the end of this episode, they weren't exactly well prepared either. They also set up another Meron subplot, which when combined with the stuff from last week, with her being won over by Nana's idea of turning Zachary good, I'm guessing we're currently in an arc where they're trying to give the clingy fairy some character development by having her become more accepting of working with the other Precure. It's certainly an interesting idea, but it's gonna take a lot to take this character out of the milk levels of annoying that she's been throughout the series. Though, I will give this episode credit in that Kokoro winning her over here was done a lot better than it was with Nana. For one thing, it does make sense that Meron would be open to the concept of fangirling, considering that's pretty much what she does with Prune 24/7. Thus, it didn't feel forced when she did cheer for Kokoro during the fight this week. And they also highlighted how she wasn't being won over just yet to working with them, as she still wanted to maintain that the idol Precure were a separate entity from Zukyun Kiss. It's an effective way of showing how they're like the wonderful and Neanderthal Cures from last season, with them basically being like separate teams, until they eventually come together as one unit for like a season upgrade or something. Anyway, Tanaka again proved to be the real MVP of the show by getting in contact with the stores and creating flyers announcing when and how they'll start up their official fan club, which as we see later would be through a website, which again, more on that later. Anyway, the Cures then started to brainstorm goods that they could give their new members.
5人のうちは合体みたいな。
And then when you try to fan yourself, it's just gonna fall apart. Of course, one of the essentials of any fan club were membership cards, and fortunately, Meron had some very convenient product placement that could also produce a prototype for their cards that they could have mass produced and
これ使わせてもらうね。ありがとう。
considering y'all's fan base, you're going to need a bigger press than that. I mean, it would just be ridiculous if y'all tried to do it by yourselves, like just the 5 of you, and then you like try to set up shop at Tanaka's and...
なぜ私の家がファンクラブ事務局に？
すみません、勝手に。
This is going to be like the Willie's Chocolate Experience levels of disaster, isn't it? Anyway, after a photo shoot for their cards, they decided to also add in a newsletter. For it, they would include a Q&A section where they'd answer a few fan letters, and apparently one weirdo asked what their favorite proverbs were. No, Todd, you're supposed to burn bridges when you inevitably want to leave the idol industry. For Kokoro, she liked the proverb, the stronger the love, the better you'll get, which is pretty straightforward, with people tending to get more into things that they have a passion towards. However, because this is a Kokoro episode, they just kind of had to throw in at least a little trauma dumping by pointing out how she had actually learned this from her late father. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a touching scene and all. It's just that it is kind of becoming repetitive to have pretty much all of Kokoro's episodes tied back to her parents in some way. Also, I think one of my personal favorite proverbs is work smarter, not harder, which really the Precure should have applied to this situation. Like again, I get that they're trying to get across Kokoro's passions and ideals in this episode, but by the end, it's really not gonna make these characters look all that smart. Anyway, after we got a really nicely animated UI catch where I'm guessing they're gonna show off all of their toys through it, Tanaka again proved his confidence by setting up a whole website on short notice. He didn't consider some other stuff they'll need, but who knows, maybe it's not gonna be as bad as I keep making it out, right? Well, anyway, a lot of people were excitedly looking forward to the website's launch, including a couple of familiar faces. However, Choki chose now to finally get off her ass, only to fall on it again. Like, okay, credit where it's due, I think this might be my favorite summoning animation of all the evil generals. Anyway, the Precure engaged the monster of the week that was made from a clerk that was handing out physical applications for their fan club, which again, I think Tanaka really needs to consider hiring some extra hands. But yeah, we got a pretty underwhelming fight this week, with it mostly just being special attack spamming, and a little bit just from Kokoro as everyone else just cheered her on. Honestly, the only really memorable part was this monster's ultimate attack. If you're trying to talk Russian, you need to learn more than one word there, dude. Still, Kokoro at least got a decent showing, as well as the finishing blow. Later, the Precure returned to their laptop to check in on their website and the applications. Okay, first question, how is this website not crashed out like a locale? Second, should y'all really be playing this up like a joke here? I mean, they clearly haven't made enough membership cards at all, much less care packages, so they're gonna leave a lot of people disappointed, at least until Tanaka can start hiring some factories and printers, which, by the way, I hope they're also charging membership fees, otherwise how is he supposed to pay for all of it? Also, how are they gonna distribute the stuff? Like, are they gonna mail it out? Or just hand it out like they did for these first two members of their club, who of course turned out to be Zachary and Cuddy, who, interestingly enough, listed their residence as Kya Land. What? 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 Yeah, okay, forget the stupid fan club stuff. Why drop this sort of a bombshell at the very end of the episode? Like, are we really trying to downplay the fact that these two basically betrayed their home? Did they do it by choice, or were they brainwashed? I'm kind of leaning towards the latter, considering that they were acquainted with Tanaka. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait until at least next week, as the Precure didn't ask any questions, and just gave them their very limited supply of cards and goods. And the episode ended with Kokoro talking about the quote-unquote success of their little fan club.
それが心の才能ね。
ファンクラブを作るのが
I wouldn't say so, considering y'all still have at least 40,328 fans who won't be getting their cards or merch until you can start mass-producing that stuff. Anyway, this was a weird episode. Like, I don't want to say it was outright bad, as it did have some nice moments for Kokoro here, and they are at least starting to set up a proper arc for Meron. It's just that they made some really weird choices, like that reveal at the end. Like I always say, I know I'm a bit of an overthinker, so maybe this fan club stuff doesn't bother you as much, but it does kind of me. I think it's because of all the Precure seasons, this one has been kind of grounded, at least when it comes to the Precure's interactions with their fans. I mean, these Cures have actually approached their idol jobs fairly realistically amongst the more fantastical elements of the show. Thus, when we end with them clearly not having enough supply for at least 14k fans, it just bugs me, especially when it's obvious that they're just trying to push the new toy, and I guess the lesson of the day? I mean, it's a good lesson with Kokoro's favorite proverb, and they do get across the idea of pursuing things that you're passionate about and all that. It's just, again, I'm not sure if it can apply in this situation when it's clear that they should be mass-producing the stuff. That said, my biggest legit gripe with this episode was them just kind of dropping the villain's fairy reveals and not really expanding on it. it just makes the main conflict of the show feel less significant when the characters just kind of hand-wave away what could be a very important aspect to how Darkine was able to conquer Kiakia land. That point alone does make this an overall below-average episode for me, as everything else was just kind of okay otherwise. Hopefully, there's some sort of proper follow-up next week, including Tanaka filing for workplace abuse, considering he's basically now working at a sweatshop at this point. Thanks for watching, and if you're being overworked, well, I think our videos can help with some of that stress, or just give you more. We've got something new coming out almost every day, and this month we might even be able to release a new long-form video after a long while. Look forward to Princession Orchestra tomorrow, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna see how many printers FedEx has available. Oh boy.